Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition. Today we're going to talk about karma, everyone's favorite topic. Good karma, bad karma. Do we actually create karma? When do we create karma? When do we clear karma? Can you do them both at the same time? Can humans actually clear karma without creating karma? Well, let's start at the beginning. There's some absolutes in the area of consciousness. One of those absolutes is the cosmic law. And one of those laws is the law of divine memory. People might call it something different. That's kind of how I learned it. It basically means in your DNA, in your cells, you know every thought, every feeling, every action that's ever happened. You have the capacity to remember everything that's ever happened. In every reality you participated in every multi-dimensional reality you've ever participated in, all over your universe and everybody else's universe. You literally know everything. Tapping into it, it's a different story, but it's all there. It's all somewhere there. You can't get away with anything, in a sense. Cosmic law says you can't get away with anything. Everything you think, feel, see, do, it's all recorded. Some people also call this the Akashic records, right? But I think I've talked before, there are a lot of different Akashic records. It's not just one. You have a human Akash, you have a galactic Akash, you have a Lemurian Akash, Atlantean Akash. There's so many Akashic records. So when someone says, oh, we're going to clear your Akashic records, or I'm going to read your Akashic records, they can only tap into what they can tap into, but it's just not one. So let's throw that out, that there's just one, because there's not. But the theory is everything gets stored in these records, right? But it's really just inside of you anyway. That's how when you start opening up, expanding your consciousness, you can then start to remember divine knowledge, cosmic knowledge, ancient Egyptian knowledge, every experience you've ever had, every experience, multidimensionality, every experience you're living in at this moment, every aspect of yourself. You can see everything because it's all right there. You just have to be at the consciousness to unlock it and hold the consciousness long enough to really experience it. Different aspects of yourself all over the place. Which gets us back to karma. Human will say there's good karma, there's bad karma. In my experience, karma's karma. It's something that you're putting out to get something back, in a sense. It's not good, it's not bad. Some of the worst things that happen to you will later go back to be some of the most expansive experiences you've ever had. So it's hard to label anything good or bad. Karma is karma. The human cannot really create good karma because they're always involved in a karmic timeline. The human's aspect of us can't be involved in something that's not karmic. One of the basic programs of our human DNA is lack. So if we're experiencing lack, if we're in a timeline that has any lack involved at all, if our intentions are not completely pure, we are in a karmic timeline. We are now creating karma. Even if we don't think we are. It's one of those things that you really can't start to clear karma till you can recognize what it is. And you have to expand your consciousness to do that. You see some very egregious things. As far as, you saw a lot of it, even if we go back to a lot of the stuff that happened last year with people hoarding certain things. You know, you'd see people in the grocery store and they would have a whole basket full of whatever, meat, and then they wouldn't have any, there would be no more in the store for anyone else. And when someone would ask if they could have some of it, someone would say, no, this is for my family, this is for me. You can't have it. Oh, well, they're very definitely creating a karmic timeline. Like that, there's no around that. That one's kind of clear. That's going to create a karmic timeline of selfishness. It's going to come back and bite them in some sense at some point. Now, the human might not register it as that, It's going to register it as, oh, that's not a nice act. It might not register it the same way you do when you're in a different plane of consciousness, a different space. We can participate in karmic timelines. We do it all the time. We could have done the shittiest things to somebody, but when we're in our human programming, we're supposed to do that. We're supposed to be the bad guy in this play, in this scenario. We're supposed to play that role. We play that role because there's a higher purpose there. Unconsciously, we know that. We're programmed to be this person in this reality, to play this part out. Let's say you were a bully in school. You're supposed to bully this person. That was your agreement. Have this other person step into their power. You had to play the bully. You were in a karmic timeline. You were creating karma for yourself later on you'd have to clear. But you'd accepted that. You were willing to do that to help out this other soul clear something from their body. So you're in a karmic timeline, but you're also taking on karma, but you're also doing a service to this other person. When we're in our human realities, we are doing this unconsciously. We don't realize that's what we're doing. You can even take an act that we feel is very selfless, but then we want to put it all over the internet. Well, that's not selfless. We now want to advertise the nice thing we just did. Is that creating karma? Is that not a karmic timeline? How about the one you hear quite a bit, and I heard this the other day, where there was someone, a homeless person, and instead of just giving money, the other person wanted to go and get something specific to give to the homeless person, which is nice in one aspect, because it didn't trust the person with the money. Oh, they might go buy alcohol with that money. Okay, so who cares if they do? That alcohol could bring up emotion for that other person and raise their frequency of their body. Now you're saying, I'm going to give you money, but I'm going to control how you spend it. What starts out as a very selfless act has gotten distorted because of the human programming of, I want to control what you do with it. I'm going to give you money, but this is how you're going to spend it, because I'm going to go spend it for you. Because I know better than you do. I know better than your higher self. My human knows better than your soul. Is that a karmic timeline? Depends on how you look at everything, right? The human cannot not create karma. It is a hamster wheel of karma. You really can't start to see it until you raise your consciousness and your body out of it. Once you do that, you can then start really clearing karma. You cannot clear karma without creating karma. When you're in a consciousness of a third dimensional level of consciousness, you can't do it. You can't. You just keep creating it. When you get to higher, more expansive levels of consciousness with your body, you can then start to see what you're creating. A lot of times I'll do something and I'll be like, shit, I know it's going to come back and get me. I know as soon as I do it, I just created a karmic timeline. And I'm like, okay, don't do that again. Don't do that again. When you see that, you're also kind of learning. We kind of learn as we go with this. I'm learning, okay, don't do that. Now, sometimes I'll participate in a karmic timeline. Just like I said before, the human will. When I was in my human form, I did it all the time. I just didn't do it consciously. Now I'll go back and do it consciously, knowing I have a role there. I'm clearing program, the other person in the reality is clearing programming. There's a reason to be there. And I'm clearing karmic debt, even though it's a karmic timeline. It can get a little squirrely if you get your mind too far into it. It can start getting squirrely. I'm still doing a service, but it is a karmic timeline because everyone in it is not from their purest place. That's the only time you're not creating karma. When you're acting from the most purest aspect of yourself, that's never your human. The human doesn't hold that. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Hope that clarified everything. It's probably even more for you to wrap your head around. But just be aware. Look at what you do. Look at the motivations and intentions behind why you do it. Some people will say, if your intentions are good, clear, if you're not trying to do harm, you're not creating karma. Look at the energy behind why you're doing it. And keep practicing the art of intuition.